and the British sovereigns, you still got those at the lower price, correct?
Yep, sure do.
800-686-2237. You've also got that free congressional report on the fact that we are bankrupt by design. 800-686-2237. Thank you, Ted.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
You've heard Alex explain how the Silver Lungs generator infuses the respiratory system with your self-produced colloidal silver solutions, yet many are unaware of the entire function of the Silver Lung system and how it has been designed to deliver your silver solutions anywhere in or on the body. My name is Mario Cifaldi, and I'm the developer of the Silver Lungs generator. Not only does the Silver Lung system produce endless colloidal and ionic silver solutions, it also comes equipped with the proper applicators and devices needed to deliver your silver solutions directly to key target areas. This includes the eyes, ears, nose, lungs, topically to the skin, and orally for the digestive system. Be sure to watch our new 7-minute video tour of the Silver Lung system at www.silverlungs.com to learn more about how the Silver Lung system works. As well, we are always ready to answer any questions you may have. That's www.silverlungs.com.
This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365. Listen up, friends. This is Alex Jones with key information. The mainstream media is now admitting that we're going into a depression. Don't be dependent on the government for you and your family. You need to get your own supply of high-quality storable foods from efoodsdirect.com. They're the best company out there, the longest continually operating, with a ton of great food to choose from. It's all fresh, made on a monthly basis, not some old cruddy food they're selling you like some of the other guys. Try their new Evacuation Pack, a 2-week supply of delicious, easy-to-fix food. It comes with all the equipment you need to prepare it. With open talk of a strike on Iran in the next 3 months, the crisis in the Gulf, and possible evacuations, get yourself and your family ready today. The place to go is efoodsdirect.com. Go to their website online right now, efoodsdirect.com/Alex, or call 800-409-5633. Again, on the web, efoodsdirect.com/Alex, or give them a call at 800-409-5633.
We now take you live
To the Central Texas Command Center.
in the heart of the resistance. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
We have produced 2 new viral videos that we need to get out to everyone. The first one is up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And it deals with vaccine death cover-up implodes worldwide. Vaccine death cover-up implodes worldwide. It's a 10-minute video breaking it all down. There's another video, Will Machete release spark racial violence? And there's no doubt the big tax-free foundations are funding this. Fox News, the same crowd with this Saudi Arabian imam that's funding the mosque. Fox is funding, this is a Fox release, Machete is a Fox release. I'm going to be talking about that in the next hour, and all the latest news out of Mexico, how it's just descending into complete lawless bedlam. It's been like that for years, but now it is like War of the Worlds or something. It's getting so insane. So that's coming up. We're also going to continue with your calls in the next hour. But this vaccine issue is so important, and this video that I put together shows Australia, England, Finland, India, and a bunch of other countries saying conclusively the vaccines are killing people and causing brain damage. And the government's back trying to push them again, and they're suspending the old H1N1, but they're coming out with a new one. We've got to warn people. We had a big effect last year. They're back with the fraud again. This is a serious, serious issue that is coming up. But in the rest of this hour, we're joined by G. Edward Griffin. G. Edward Griffin is an American filmmaker, producer, author, and political lecturer. He then began his career producing documentaries and books and has often debated topics like cancer, the Federal Reserve, and the libertarian views of the U.S. Supreme Court, terrorism, subversion, foreign policy. He's the best-selling author of The Creature from Jekyll Island. And, of course, he also started Freedom Force International, about taking control of our local state governments, the long view of history. We need the shock troops to be out there waking folks up and taking action, but also just plodding forward every square inch of territory we take back from the globalists. But on short notice, I asked Jaron to get him on today just to pop in, because we need to be praying for Ron Paul. I mean, that's my view. He says he wants an audit of not just the Federal Reserve, and he's gotten very close to that and exposed that they're hiding something, but he also wants them to audit the New York Fed's gold vaults, a lot of secrecy there, and Fort Knox. We know there's been a lot of hanky-panky there, and the gold confiscations of 33 and it being shipped overseas. And they've been very secretive about this. So you talk about a stroke of genius to really expose the bankers. Demand that audit that they've always fought and say, why can't we see the people's gold? And, of course, they'll try to have a staged audit or something. But the point is, this is very exciting. And also, where he sees gold going, where he sees the awakening going. I just mentioned this with Ted Anderson. Investors spooked as glitch sends gold to $3,400 an ounce yesterday. I mean, you've got Bloomberg reporting that most of the futures for the month of December, the most popular future is $1,500 an ounce. So you've got that going on. So an expert on gold, the free market, the Federal Reserve, all of it. G. Edward Griffin, good to have you here with us.
Well, thanks, Alex. Good to be back.
So much going on. What do you want to tackle first of the subjects I raised?
I don't know. I was just overwhelmed by the whole list, thinking, what can I say that you probably haven't already said 10 times over? I certainly agree that we need to pray for Ron Paul. I mean, this fellow's got more courage in his little fingernail than most people have in their whole body. I mean, here's a fellow that's not only doing all the things you mentioned, but calling for getting rid of the CIA. Now, that takes some courage, I would say. So, yeah. But more than prayer, I think Ron Paul needs some support, some good, strong mass action support and some political support and probably financial support. Who doesn't need that? But more to the issues, Alex, I think that the calling for an audit of the gold supply is a brilliant maneuver. I think Congressman Paul knows as well as you and I that there is no gold of any substance or any quantity in Fort Knox. Otherwise, they would have displayed it long ago. They've got some soldiers, I understand, guarding the gates around Fort Knox, and you can't get into it. It makes it look like they're guarding something. But,
and congressmen over the decades, as you know, and people can pull up these cases, have wanted to go look at it, and they're told, no, no, no. I mean, you talk about brazen, how this is just right out in the open.
Yeah, right out in the open. And, it's amazing to me how people, like our neighbors down the street, you can tell them about this, and they'll look at you and say, well, yeah, that's interesting. They don't get it, They don't understand how these things really impact their own personal lives, their own future, their own security, their own freedom. And yet, I mean, this is serious. This is a heart attack. What does the government have to back up its economic power? Is it just military? Is that the only reason that people accept American dollars? Is because if they don't, they're going to be bombed, or because the police are going to come and put them in prison?
But it also reveals how this shadow government confiscated the gold in 33, publicly shipped most of it to Europe, increased the price a year later, enriched themselves. We had all these national gold reserves. We were partially gold backed. And now for, 60 years, no one can look at it, but they just say, don't worry, it's there, and then act very suspicious. The swindlers have run out the back door with it. They may wheel in a a small portion of it or something if we do force an audit, but it illustrates how they just operate in total secrecy.
Yeah, and they really become less and less concerned about what the public thinks, The public be damned. They're just going to do it anyway. And it kind of reminds me, as you were just saying that, Alex, remember during the historic period in America where in the days where the frontier was rapidly expanding, they had what they called wildcat banks, because there were banks opening up in territories where they didn't have too many people, but they had lots of wildcats, and they called them wildcat banks. And there was a time in those days when banks were being exposed as being fraudulent, because people would come in and demand their money and their gold, and in those days money was gold. And what the banks would do is they'd put the out there in the lobby where people could see it, and they had guards there. They'd put kegs of nails out there, and they'd cover the tops of the kegs with about 2 or 3 inches of gold coins. And the people come in and say, "Oh, they got a whole keg full of gold coins," And so, everything's fine. They'd go back and they continue to accept the bank's paper notes. I have a feeling that if they ever get around to the audit of the gold at Fort Knox, we're probably going to see a lot of kegs of nails in there with maybe some bars of gold on top.
Well, that's another good point. And G. Edward Griffin, you talk about Ron Paul's courage. I mean, I'm not just here going, "Oh, Ron Paul's so great. Oh, he's so wonderful." I say this about very few people. He gets up and gives speeches on television now saying the CIA has had a coup. They're bringing in the drugs. We need to abolish them. I mean, that gets people killed routinely. I mean, these people kill foreign leaders, run the drugs, the white slaves, everything. He's saying abolish the private Federal Reserve, audit Fort Knox and the New York Fed's gold. I mean, these are swindler, criminal, murdering mafia who launch global wars, who are eugenicists. And I just hope people realize that Ron Paul, just quietly, with dignity, is literally a George Washington-type character. Doesn't mean he's perfect, but let me tell you, he's for real. And that's why Cass Sunstein and others have come out and admitted, now we have this from the mainstream British news, same paradigm there, posing as patriots. They say they're coming out posing as anti-New World Order people to attack real activists. And that's why we see G. Edward Griffin being attacked, Ron Paul, myself, and others, because we're real. So that's the attack from below. And you're an expert on subversion for more than 50 years. I want you to talk about that from the congressional hearings, how they do this. They're attacking us from the activist level because they think that has credibility because the mainstream media is discredited. But they're also sending in Sarah Palin and Glenn Beck to literally mimic what I'm doing and what others are doing to try to co-opt the Tea Party movement that Ron Paul and others were the progenitors of. Can you speak to that?
Well, somewhat, yes, because over the years I have studied how these people work, and I do know pretty much this is a strategy that has worked repeatedly over decades. And if they have opposition, such as we're just talking about here, whether it's Ron Paul or you or me or some little guy coming along just speaking up in his local community, they know exactly how to deal with them, and there are certain steps. The first one is to ignore the opposition, because usually it'll go away on its own. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to attack it or anything. Just ignore it. Most people speaking out against this collectivist empire, the evil empire, they have no funding, they have no following, they have no way to communicate their ideas, so they may make a little splash here and there, and then they just sort of wither away. You never hear from them again. So the first step is to ignore them. Now, if that doesn't work, then they decide to discredit them. They'll use their media power to a great extent to demonize people, to make the average person consider that they're doing something illegal or something immoral, or that they're wacko or something like that. Just demonize them to peel off their support, so they no longer have this financial support, this following, or this means of communication. Now, if that doesn't work, and almost always that works, but the few that make it through that barrier, then the next step is to buy them off, to entice them with offers of employment or financial support. Sometimes these people don't even know they're being bought off. I've seen a couple of efforts in my life where people have had great wealth and